If the devs see videos like this, they might think that other people think that this is a good game, and it's not, and they need to steer clear from Vanguard Zombies as a whole. Oh crap, he actually responded. What is going on, everybody? My name is Alex. Welcome back to another Call of Duty Vanguard Zombies video, and today we're going to be reacting to something a little different. Normally, I don't talk about multiplayer or multiplayer, YouTubers, but in this case, we're going to be talking about Prestige is Key, who I love this guy, by the way. I think he makes great content, and he put out a video the other day saying how he was wrong about Vanguard Zombies. Now, I will say that this video came out before the update for Season 4 Reloaded, where there was some changes to Vanguard Zombies in general, and I'm not going to really be talking about those inside of this video. We might address it a little bit, but I have a separate video on that coming out later down the line. So let's get into the video.
Since the launch of Vanguard back in 2021, the Zombies mode has been rife with controversy and widely panned by our community, including myself. I'll be completely straightforward with everybody out there. I've never been the biggest fan of Vanguard Zombies, which is weird to say because
Which is 100% true. Out of all of the content creators that were talking about this game as a whole, Prestige is Key has been very fair. He hasn't been overly zealous and hating on it, and he hasn't been overly confident in saying that it's the best COD ever. He's been pretty objective. So I trust him when it comes to his opinion, mainly due to the longevity of his experience with Call of Duty as a whole.
I absolutely loved Outbreak, and it's kind of the same idea, just on a smaller scale. The problem is, when I first played this game way back when this originally launched, there weren't too many objectives, and things felt very repetitive.
There still aren't a lot of objectives, though.
Considering I really like running around in circles and just training zombies nonstop. So what's the difference? What's the difference between doing objectives versus just running around like a chicken with your head cut off? And honestly,
the difference is being forced to do so. With Outbreak, the overall design of that game mode is to do the objectives, progress to the next round, but you have inner objectives inside of the main objectives, so you can constantly craft an experience that is more applicable to your playstyle. Not to mention, there's a whole Easter egg quest, 2 of them in fact, that are some of the best quests I've ever experienced. Well, correction, some of the best boss fights, but there's at least something to strive for. And in these other maps, there isn't really anything to do, except for Shinonuma, obviously.
I just personally feel there's a difference between how the rounds progress, and it creates a different type of serotonin boost in my brain, and that's just kind of how it is for me personally. But I can't truly identify what the big difference is between doing objective and, of course, just running around like crazy with the goal of surviving as long as possible, because it's kind of the same idea. I think the thing is, the objective throws another wrench in the machine that I'm not usually used to when it comes to round-based experiences.
Yeah, I guess it does throw a wrench into the machine, but I think a better way to look at it is kind of what I said before, whereas this actually inhibits gameplay because it's forcing you to do this just to go to round 8, round 7, round 9, whatever round you're on. All it does is progress you to the next incrementally harder level. In Outbreak, you're going from like round 2 to 3, but it's a big gap in skill. The rewards become greater. Yes, I guess that does happen in Duranfang and Terra Maledicta, but not to the extent that it feels like in Outbreak when you're jumping from level to level. The rewards are greater. Not to mention, the systems inside of Vanguard are very tedious and slow and boring. The whole game mode is designed for player retention rather than player gratification or player reward. There's nothing inside of here that is good for the player. Everything is so slow and methodical. You do the objective, you get a little bit of salvage, you get a little bit of points, you can go get your perks, I guess. That's it. Like I said at the beginning of the video, at least they have reduced some of the qualifiers to get armor, and Zabala doesn't have like a cooldown period anymore. So like there's positive things that have happened, but I still don't think it's enough to fix the mode. But then again, time will tell.
Which could also lead to an ultimate demise if you aren't careful. Now, in the same breath, this is what makes the Vanguard zombie experience incredible. Because of that difficulty curve, it can become such a stressful situation for many players out there that aren't used to trying to combat the zombie horde while surviving and complete an objective at the same time. So I totally get it from both sides of the coin. Now, for me personally, I just prefer the more chill environment of trying to survive, not worrying about an objective, not worrying about anything else except for the horde that's in front of me. Now, in a different world,
Real quick, I want to say that if we did get Duran Fang and Terra Maledicta inside of Vanguard, inside of a season that had round-based experiences, or even something like Outbreak, I don't think it would be that bad. I don't think people would be that upset. The fact is that they gave us this incomplete bare bones mode, and it's taken nearly 8 months. Well, when did the game come out? November? It's been 9 months, and nothing has really gotten that much better, except for Shin Onuma. But again, that doesn't mean you should buy this game. It means that Shin Onuma is okay, and if you want to play Vanguard Zombies because you own it already, you now have a sort of excuse to do so.
would it have been a better situation if they launched with a round-based experience and then put out Duran Fang and Terra Maledicta? I honestly don't know. I think they would have had to go one round-based.
I literally haven't seen this video, and he just said what I said, so.
One objective, one round-based, one objective, and that would have been the sweet spot. But that just seems
Oh, hell no, dude.
Due to time constraints that Treyarch had.
If they would have come out quickly with that stuff, and then like the round base comes out every 3 months or whatever, how they normally do it, 3-4 months, and then the objective based modes came out in between as supplemental content for like a side mode, sure. But no, I don't want it every other map to be something like this and then a round based if it's going to be 3-4 months in between. The big main maps should be what we like. The big extensive quests, the epic boss fight, the side Easter eggs, the round based experience, everything else that they give us in between is supplemental and is supposed to fluff up that other mode, basically making you appreciate it more and just having other shit to do, to grind camos and do other stuff inside of the game that you can't do inside of round base strictly because that experience is contained. They can refine that experience and make it better. I'm not saying it has to be stagnant, but there is a blueprint for it that we love. The community loves it. There's a reason that Black Ops 3, Black Ops 2, parts of Black Ops 4, I know not everybody loves that game, Infinite Warfare, there's a reason that those games are so beloved.
Obviously, they just came off of working on Black Ops Cold War, and they immediately rolled into the Treyarch X Vanguard.
Yeah, but it's a different team, so.
I mean, they're working on zombies, they're working on ranked play, they're taking a lot of the load off from the...
They're doing everything for Sledgehammer because Sledgehammer's incompetent.
While simultaneously working on whatever's coming in the
future. It's not confusing. They're incompetent.
Probably going to be getting...
And I stand by that. Sorry. Sorry to be a dick.
But the point that I'm trying to make is zombies, as it sits right now, is in a situation, a unique situation at that, where they've already announced they're not going to be doing any more objective-based play, and we've already seen them tease that they're going to be working on another round-based map before the end of Vanguard's life. So they're still actively developing zombie stuff for this game. And I think it works well with the story that's been presented. I wish that there was more in line with what we had last year with Cold War, where we can go through and look back at all the different transmissions outside of the game. We weren't required to listen to them in the game all the time anymore. And that's
because this is like a crap spin-off mode of what zombies is. They're not able to give us what we are used to because it's a smaller team, less money. Vanguard sucks as a whole. So we're getting the bare minimum and then some. Like I don't really know how to put it other than that way.
Just a really nice feature that unfortunately didn't make its way in due to those time constraints that, of course, we already talked about. So what am I doing back in zombies? Why am I spending time here? Well,
I don't know, bro.
I don't really have much to do right now. Multiplayer, they haven't really been updating it with content, and I haven't played zombies since the launch of this game. That means there's a lot of untapped XP that I haven't gone through and earned yet because of camouflage challenges in general, and other things through the seasonal progression that I've just not had a chance to experience. So within just 2 games, I went from like rank 60 up to rank 94. This is going to be quite a breeze in terms of ranking up. In fact, I might even get to rank 1000 this season if I continue playing zombies every single day.
Oh, how could you do that to yourself, man?
That is just kind of what's drawing me over to the zombies mode as of right now. And I've really started to appreciate some of the finer details in this mode that I really didn't appreciate before because of the objective play. I've also gained a newfound respect for some of these mechanics that I originally hated when this game first came out, specifically because I wasn't really understanding of how effective they can be utilized throughout the entirety of the match. And now that I have Shin Onuma and their round-based experience where I can just play in a more relaxed state, I'm starting to realize how incredible these covenants can actually be and how they can be utilized on the fly in game, and it can immediately change up how you play depending on the locations that you would normally travel to in the objective.
Okay, yeah, I get that. The covenants aren't inherently bad on their face. The problem with covenants is that it took things that you used to be able to get inside of perks, inside of the Pack-a-Punch machine. It took all of these things that we already had in other ways so we could have more tools at our disposal, and it condensed it down into a catch-all system so that they wouldn't have to develop these tools elsewhere. It's in fact hurt the game, not helped it. The fact that there are more covenants makes the covenants that you like to get even more rare and difficult to acquire because you're simply not able to get them due to the fact that it's all RNG based. Getting Deadshot Daiquiri, getting this like unholy ground thing, it's all RNG, where they could have put this stuff inside the perks. So when you get to like tier 5 stamina up or tier whatever the 4 stamina up, you would have, I don't know, an ability that would make your specialist go off when you get hit in the back like that other Covenant does. And in Black Ops Cold War, you would get Juggernaut for 2,500 points, whereas now you have to pay like, what, 15,000 points for the perk, and it's just a little bit better. Like you get 5 hits instead of 4. It's not much better. They really fucked up with the Covenant system, in my opinion. It's a catch-all, and it's just very poorly implemented.
Mode. Now, the covenants and the artifacts obviously go hand in hand. Most of these things we saw in Black Ops Cold War, but have now been reworked, specifically the upgrades. Instead of using crystals to upgrade our perks and our abilities, and we're going to have those fully permanently upgraded before we go in game, you now have to make a choice. And this, flat out, was one of the things that I really wasn't understanding mechanic-wise back when this game first launched. And
I'm curious to hear what his opinion is here, because like it's objectively worse. It objectively removes options from the player. So I don't see how you can miss the point. I'm not throwing shade on him. I like this guy. He can have whatever opinion he wants, but I don't understand how you can objectively think that there's anything really worth of value here.
One of the reasons why I just really wasn't enjoying it as much. These artifacts really do go hand in hand with the covenants. The covenants create specific instances for your player to give you additional abilities. And the best part is, even though they're randomized in game, you can still swap them every single objective you complete. You'll get upgrades throughout the entire way. Some will be better than others, but you really have to make that dedicated choice on how you're going to play the game and how it's going to affect your entire loadout moving forward. And that's the special part about these covenants. And
that's not special, it's limiting. Even in Black Ops 1, you could go down and rework your whole perk loadout, giving you a different way to play. Inside of Vanguard, you don't have that option. The game gives you some options, but it's limiting. Inside of Cold War, and I actually learned this take from Lego. He's not applying it here by any means, but he always brought up how inside of Cold War, you can have any playstyle you want due to the fact that you can have all the perks. You can do whatever you want by switching your field upgrade. And inside of Vanguard, you don't have that ability. You have what they give you. And yeah, it might pair nicely with a field upgrade or whatever the hell they're called, the artifacts, but you're still limited to a certain amount, and it's hard to change them because you might not get what you want. So not only do you not get to pick your playstyle, you have to make a dedicated choice to pick a playstyle you might not even want.
Honestly, there is one major change that I would love to see in terms of what type of covenants end up going into the game, because as you all know, it is randomized. And you're going to probably get lucky in certain cases. Other cases, you're going to have to wait. But that kind of goes hand in hand with the gameplay experience as well, because if you're not getting that covenant that you really need, you can wait until the next round and hopefully it will be there. But other times, it's not. And really, to fix this situation, I feel it would be great if we had another customization inside the menu before jumping in game. So let's say in the future there's a total of 50 covenants. It would be incredible if we were able to upgrade the altar, giving us the ability to see 5 covenants at a time, or give us the ability to have a customization option within the create a class menu.
Or just do what you did with the salvage machine inside of Cold War. It allows us to randomize our attachments, but randomize the covenants instead. Problem solved. Spend salvage to randomize the covenants, or spend 2 hearts to randomize the covenants, or whatever. It's not that complicated.
Menu, maybe allowing us to choose 10 or 15 covenants that we see as our favorites, and would maybe give them a 25% extra chance to appear after every single.
Not gonna happen, buddy.
We've gone through enough rounds in round-based experiences to hopefully be there and be upgraded upgraded. I would really like that ability to have a little bit better of a chance to find the ones that I personally want. I've had situations where I couldn't find the one that I want for many, many rounds while playing Shi no Numa. And that kind of
I rest my case, bro.
But once again, that just kind of goes hand in hand with the gameplay experience. The same thing can be said about all the other upgrades in the game, like needing to upgrade your perk multiple times. I like the fact that you can get the first version for free. That's incredible. And I also like the fact that you can upgrade your artifact on the fly. And really what made me think about this was making that video yesterday where we talked about Champion Hill. I like
upgrading the artifacts is cool, but the fact, like, again, I've said this so many times, the fact that you have to upgrade your perks 4 or 5 times is just, it's just asinine. They don't give you any rewards for any reason. They don't give you any rewards at all. It's just, it's pointless.
The randomness that there is to the covenants, but at the same time, I also like that there's strategy behind what you need to do moving forward. If you want to choose to take that sacrificial heart and upgrade your artifact over getting a covenant, that's a choice that you're actively making before going into the next round. A covenant like Deadshot will be able to help you for every single kill, but something like an artifact and upgrading your Ether Shroud or upgrading your Frost Blast or something, that's going to be an immediate use case, and you're not going to have that built up for the entirety of the thing, right? You're going to need to earn it again before you're able to actually utilize it, where a covenant's just always active. And that's the thing that I just was not understanding. And it took me playing Shi no Numa, it took me playing some of these objective modes, and it took me going for camo challenges to really understand the nuances in Vanguard Zombies. Now, I'm not saying that it's perfect.
I gotta stop this for a second. There are no nuances in Vanguard Zombies. It's the exact opposite. A nuance would be having some perks inside of the Pack-a-Punch machine. Some nuance would be having some of those perks inside of the perks themselves. Some of the nuance would be having some of those perks inside of the field upgrades. Some of them would be having them in the crafting table, spreading them out so that you have all these different tools at your disposal to help you basically become the best player at that given game. But when you dump it all into a giant bucket and say, here you go, and you shake up the bucket every time, well, you never know what toy you're going to get. You could get a great toy, you could get a shitty toy. That's like why it's not nuanced. I understand what you're saying. Like, you get a covenant and it can help you out throughout the whole game, but they're rarities as well. So when you get a covenant at round 3 versus getting one at round 30, there's a huge difference. And the one at round 3 is basically useless if it's common or rare or whatever, versus upgrading my Aether Shroud to tier 4 by, like, round 12, I think you can do it. It is inherently better to do that than even look at the covenant system for the time being. The covenant system gets actively ignored until the later rounds when you actually need that extra support. And some of them are pretty overpowered, I won't lie. And it's nice to have them. It's like kind of like having 3 extra perks. It's almost like when you take a perkaholic inside of Black Ops 4, when you get the dog perk or the blaze phase or whatever. It's like, you don't really want those perks, but you'll take them if you got them. That's pretty much how I feel about the covenant system. And I know the BO4 perk system isn't perfect and it isn't really apt to compare. It isn't really apt for comparison, but the point stands is that there's some perks that they're not a buff, they're more like an additive, and that's what covenants are. They're like these little additives, and they just don't do it for me, man. I think they are bad for the game. I don't think they help the game progress as a whole.
Perfect by any means. I'm not saying that it's an incredible experience. I'm not saying that it's the best Zombies we've ever had. And I'm not saying it's the most enjoyable Zombies experience, because even I can say playing the objective modes with realizing how important these new features are, it can still be a very boring experience. But I am having a pretty good time, and I'm looking at it through a different lens now. And now that I've had time to mull over it and actually see everything, I think I was pretty wrong about Vanguard Zombies and the path that they were trying to take with it. It didn't launch great.
I just gotta stop you here, buddy. You were not wrong. The fact that it's taken you 9 months to make this video proves that you were right, because it's now taken you 9 months to kind of appreciate something that you knew was bad to begin with. Is it the worst thing in the world? Is it like dire straits over there? Of course not. There are bigger problems or bigger fish to fry, but we're talking video games. So no, you're not wrong. You never were wrong. It's a okay experience. It's not as buggy as it was. Shi no Numa is a pretty decent experience. It's average at best. If you have Vanguard, go ahead and play it. But no, you're not wrong, buddy. You're not wrong at all.
It launched incredibly boring, and I still stand by that. But now that there's a little bit more to it, there's more meat on the bones, I kind of can see the vision that they were going for. I'm not saying that this should be the future of Call of Duty Zombies.
I hope to God not.
Round-based, it will always be king to me, and that's just where it sits in my mind. But I'm having a good time playing, and I'm having a good time getting a lot of XP by finishing up these challenges. But that's it. That is the video.
Okay, before we wrap up this video, I just want to say that in the comment section, a lot of people actually disagreed with his take, and I left him a comment, and I just looked at it, and he actually responded, which is hilarious, so let's check that out. But as you can see, 200 people disliked the video, which, again, no shade at Prestige. I love the guy. I do. I've met him in person once. He probably doesn't remember me. He was at E3. Such a nice guy. Such a nice guy. I just disagree with this take. I just want to let him know that, no, you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. So anyway, I left him a comment basically kind of saying what I've said this whole video. I was like, you're not wrong. You're wrong now, but that's okay. However, and I say this with all due respect, making a video like this hurts more than it helps. If the devs see it, they could be thinking that you're not the only one who was quote unquote wrong. And if they stick with this stuff because more people start to follow this mentality, well, then I don't know what I'll do. I'll be heartbroken. And people liked my comment, I guess, not like hundreds, but couple. Anyway, Prestigious Key wrote back, I hope he's not mad. I don't think objective was the way to go at all. Round-based is king by all the way, but the mechanics didn't appear useful to me at launch now that I've had a basic understanding, but never really gave it the time of day until now. It can create some interesting situations for round-based, so who knows what the future holds, but just know my opinion means fuck all to the devs who create these games. I'd like to imagine, based off player retention, that they'll most likely scrap most of everything they did this year. So let's leave him a little comment, because why the hell not? Hey man, fair enough. I meant nothing hostile towards you. Love the content. I am just a zombies shill. Did I spell shill right? Shill. Awesome. Nope, I didn't spell it right. How do you spell fucking shill? And I know that his opinion, it doesn't do anything for the devs. I'm talking about creating a larger opinion as a whole through people agreeing. That's all I'm saying. I don't think his opinion holds any more weight than anybody else's. Maybe, oh, that's not true. Maybe a little bit. Basically, what I meant by that is I just want him to know that I hope other people don't glom onto this and think that Vanguard Zombies is just something amazing now. But with that being said, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. And Prestige, if you do see this by any chance, you are the man. Thanks for leaving a comment back to me. And I will catch you guys all in the next video. Peace out, everybody.